You've only gone and downloaded a MultipleSources.net podcast. For more episodes of this show and a bunch of other content covering everything from NBA teams to professional wrestling, visit MultipleSources.net. MultipleSources.net. But wait! Act now and you too could join MultipleSources.net. Yeah, we're looking for people to do their own podcasts about different NBA teams. We're looking for blog authors, video highlight creators, basically anything you can think of to write about sports. You can kind of write or create to your heart's content. So if you want to help us and join this up-and-coming independent blog and podcast network monster, go to multiplesources.net. I'll stick something in the sidebar that says join us or something equally unfunny, so go and click on that. Join us.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Phoenix, a weekly podcast covering our favorite team, the Phoenix Suns. This week, we will quickly recap last week's games and preview the 4 games coming up this week. After that, we are shifting into off-season mode, and we will be discussing the upcoming draft. The Suns will have 3 picks in the first round, and we're going to talk about what we think might happen with all those picks. And I'm Charlie, and I have David and Mitch with me. How's it going, guys?
It's going good.
What's good?
What's good? All right. All right. So, before we get started, we want to congratulate Nicholas on winning the ticket giveaway. In case you missed it last week, we announced a code word during the episode for listeners to email into us. And if they were selected, they'd win 2 tickets to the Suns versus Wizards game on April 1st. So we held the randomized drawing Friday night, and Nicholas was the one to come away with the tickets. So, Nicholas, we hope you have a good time at the game. And for everyone that didn't come away with the tickets, keep checking back because we plan to do some more giveaways in the future. All right, so let's get into our recaps from last week's games. And first off, I covered the Grizzlies game last Monday, and this is the game where Tyson Chandler started to deal with some back spasms, and he ended up sitting out the entire second half. And the Suns looked really good with Chandler and Len both in there, and they were giving the Grizzlies trouble with their size down low. But once Chandler went out, there was a very visible change in the game. The Suns just didn't have enough in their tank to come away with their 3rd consecutive win against the Grizzlies, and we can blame Lance Stevenson for that. He had a huge 4th quarter. He scored 12 points, which really kept the Suns down. And then Zach Randolph had a nice game, going for 14 and 13 boards for the double-double. And then the Suns were led by Devin Booker with 18 points. But in my eyes, P.J. Tucker was the star of the game. His offensive game has been much improved lately, looks a lot more confident with the ball, and he was really aggressive all game. He ended up with 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. And then the other highlight for the Suns was John Lure. He stepped up with the absence of Chandler and came away with a double-double, 13 points and 13 rebounds. All right, so we'll move on to the one-sentence recaps. What do you guys have?
I'll go first. I will just go ahead and say, for my one-sentence recap, I thought I liked the Grizzlies. Turns out, after this year, I really don't like them at all. Is Lance Stevenson,
never liked the Grizzlies.
Lance Stevenson, Matt Barnes, I can't get behind that. I know they're not always on there. I have nothing against Marc Gasol. I have nothing against really Conley. But just about everyone else, I'm not a fan of.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so the Grizzlies are an interesting team this season. And so for my one-sentence recap, I'm going to say the Grizzlies have a ton of injuries but are somehow still good.
It's very true.
They keep on losing guys, and a lot of people thought that they might end up finding themselves out of the playoffs because there weren't that many games separating them, but I think there were 9 games that separated them from a 9 seed at one point, and they keep up at it, so good for them, I guess.
Yeah.
And with Conley out, they've had to dive pretty deep to get some backup point guards, and they had a guy in there I'd never even heard of. I seem to know quite a few players in the league, but I had no idea who that guy was when they announced him. So anyways, let's hit up the trivia recap. For points, the 2-pointer, I said Knight, David and Mitch said Booker. The correct answer was Booker. Rebounds, we all said Len. We were all wrong. Lure came away with 13. And then assists, I said Booker, David said Booker, and Mitch said Knight, and Mitch got the point there. Knight had 7.
All right.
So the final after that week, I have 27. David has 35, and the new leader is Mitch with 36.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
This is why I wanted my parade in advance. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're winding down. We're cutting back the trivia a little bit, so we'll see how that pans out for you. Probably not good. That's not in your best interest. But. All right, anyways, let's move on to that Lakers game. The Phoenix stop in the Kobe Farewell Tour. David, you covered this one. How did this game go?
Yeah, so this was it was just a good night in general. I was going to say an emotional night because it is Kobe's last game. It was Kobe's last game in Phoenix. It was his first game of the season against the Suns. It was basically a Lakers home game. There was a lot of purple and gold everywhere instead of purple and orange. For the first quarter, it seemed to like whenever Kobe had the ball, there was just cheers and chants. It was pretty intense. It wasn't a Suns home game for us at all, but we were able to come up with the win, a 119-107. It was just a good game in general for our young guys compared to theirs. Clarkson and Russell weren't dominant forces on their end, but on our end, Booker had a really good game. He scored a game-high 28 points on 12 of 22 shooting. He had 7 assists, a steal, and a block. In fact, I think all of the guys that I thought were good in the game basically had a steal and a block as well. Brandon Knight added 25 points with 8 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks with a single turnover. So that was kind of nice. Only one turnover. I was very impressed and really enjoyed it. And then, of course, John Lure scored a season-high 22 points in the starting lineup for Tyson Chandler. He hit 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of his 4 threes, and all 4 free throws. Of course, he also added in 14 rebounds, a steal, and a block. So Johnny Badger did work. And those are really the 3 main highlights for the Suns. I thought all 3 of those guys just played extremely well, all over 20 points. And it was a fun game, and it sent Kobe on his way for the Suns in Phoenix, how I think they wanted to, which was sending him away with another loss to us. So just a good game all around, and it was entertaining, really entertaining basketball.
Right, and Lure has really filled in well since Chandler has been dealing with those back spasms. He's a couple double-doubles in a row, and these 2 games were pretty solid, but he did fall off a little bit before the Kings game. So
yeah, but he had a stretch of basically even the week and a half was it off the bench where he was putting in solid work. When it was the Jazz game, it was the Timberwolves game, where he was really just. It seemed like for entire second quarters of stretches of second quarters where he was the only guy really scoring for us. So he had that drop off, but he's been keeping it up for a good amount of time.
Right. So let's do 1-sentence recaps for the Lakers game. Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit, but Kobe had some nice comments after the game, and so my recap is just going to be, after this game, I gained respect for Kobe.
Yeah, I really liked when he said that he did hate us. He hated us. I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that competitive spirit. You don't see that in some of the new superstars, and I hope that really doesn't make its way away from the game. I like those rivalries.
Yeah, we had such a great rivalry with them, and I just remember watching those Steve Nash days and just saying like, oh, I really don't want to play the Lakers. Like, Kobe is so good, and it's kind of nice to see that he felt the same way.
All right, and I'm going to go with 2 one-sentence recaps because this just came to me when we brought this up. So first off, hey Kobe, we hated you too. Then second, to give some respect to the guy, after scoring 1,148 points in Phoenix, Kobe Bryant will never score any more points here ever again. That's a lot of points in one building that he put up here.
That is wild. That is truly wild.
I want to say it came out to about 28 points per game, and that's including playoff games too.
Jeez.
So that's a long-time Suns killer right there.
Oh,
he could score the basketball.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we'll go to that trivia. For the two-pointer, most points from the Suns. Mitch said Len, David said Knight, I said Booker, and Booker was the high man with 28. Rebounds, we all said Chandler, and Chandler was not playing.
That definitely wasn't Chandler.
Definitely wasn't Chandler. Lure had those 14 boards. And then assists, David and Mitch said Booker, I said Price, and Booker is correct. He tied with Knight with 7 assists.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so total points. Mitch still holding on to the lead with 37, David with 36, and I have 29 in the back. Okay, so that does it for the Lakers. And then moving on Friday the 25th, we took on the Kings in Sacramento, and we got torched. Final score 116-94. So we were still are missing Tyson Chandler due to those back spasms, and Brandon Knight was out with stomach bug, maybe some food poisoning, and then John Lure and Ronnie Price were also both feeling a little crappy as well, and the Suns were pretty undermanned for the game. And my personal highlight of the game was Lure sprinting back to the locker room in the first quarter, probably showing some signs of that stomach bug. And rumor is that they ate some bad lasagna before the game.
Oh, geez.
Somewhere in Sacramento, so watch out for that, I guess. All right, but no more toilet jokes. I'll get into the game a little bit. Without Chandler, the Kings' big men killed us. DeMarcus Cousins did most of his damage in the first half. He ended up with 29 points and 11 rebounds. Then Willie Cauley-Stein had the best game of his career against us. He put up 26 points. And both him and Cousins, they were just too much to handle. And they caught a bunch of alley-oops from Rondo. Like at least 6. It was pretty crazy. They just used their size and get behind us, and they were killing us with that. It was crazy. But anyways, Booker led the way for the Suns again. 26 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, but had 9 turnovers. And as a team, the Suns committed 22 turnovers. And we all know it's pretty tough to win a game when you're playing like that. All right, one-sentence recaps. David, go for it.
I don't know how I feel about the Kings' light blue unis. That's my one-sentence recap.
That's a good one.
I like it. Let's move right along. Mitch, what do you got?
So I'm going to base my recap off of one picture, and it's something that you sent us, actually, Charlie. After the game, it was DeMarcus Cousins with his arm around Booker, looking like he was giving him some wisdom. So I'm going to say it's cool to see these big name guys giving Booker some respect.
I agree with that, but I feel like we have to note that after that picture was took, a few possessions or maybe a quarter later, they got into a little mini scuffle, and then Booker gave Cousins a little shove in the back and got teed up, and it wasn't quite as chummy after that. But
well, that's
just thought I'd make a note.
That's okay.
It was funny.
They're just messing around.
All those kids.
They're just being
Just having
boys.
fun. All right, so the trivia for the Kings game. For most points, I said Knight, David said Knight, Mitch said Booker. Booker had the 26, 2 points for Mitch. Rebounds. Me and Mitch said Len, David said Chandler. We were all wrong. Tucker and John Jenkins tied with 8. Jenkins grabbing 8 boards. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then assists, we were all wrong. I said Knight, David said Booker, Mitch said Goodwin, Price led the way with 5. So after that round, Mitch picked up 2 points. That's all that happened. So 39, David 36, me with 29.
All right.
All right, so after the Kings game, we had a back-to-back, and the Celtics came to town. And with us missing some pretty key players and coming off that back-to-back, we played some pretty good basketball. The second half was pretty good basketball. The first half was about what you've expected out of the Suns. But anyways, they were trailing by 17 heading into the third. And that's when they finally turned it on. There was a really nice 24-6 run in favor of the Suns that got them right back into the game. And that had to have been one of the more entertaining stretches of ball we've seen all year. Everyone was making buckets. Celtics couldn't make a shot. Good defense. Good times to watch. But even with that big stretch, the Suns could never take hold of the lead. But the game did end up going down to the wire, and it ended 102-99. Booker led the way once again for the Suns, scoring 21 points. He picked up 4 boards and 4 assists. Then Knight put up 19 points, but it was on some pretty ineffective shooting. He was 2 for 12 behind the three-point line. And if those buckets aren't falling, if those threes aren't falling, I don't know if you should be putting up 12 of them. And then for the Celtics, ex-Sun, Isaiah Thomas led the way, 28 points and 6 rebounds. Just got to the rim at his will. No one could stop him. So amazing. He's only 5'8", or that's what he's listed at, and he just gets to that rim. And then Mitch's buddy, Kelly Olynyk, had a solid performance off the bench. He went for 16 points. And Mitch, let's hear what you have to say about Olynyk, and then you can do your one-sentence recap.
Oh, he is my one-sentence recap. Sorry. I'll just go into that. I was going to say, my boy Kelly Olynyk's 16 points lift the Celtics past the Suns. Yeah, Kelly Olynyk is one of my favorite Zag players of all time. So I'm always secretly rooting for him, even when the Celtics play the Suns. It's like my ideal game. The ideal way that this could have happened is if Kelly scored 50 and we still won. But
dream on, Mitch.
16 off the bench in 22 minutes is fine too, I guess.
Sure. All right, David.
I'm still really upset that Mitch doesn't give Bobby Sakura the props he deserves, but
okay. I like Sakura, but I never went to school at the same time as him. He graduated a year before I got to Gonzaga.
Are you trying to tell... Wait, weren't him and Kelly drafted in the same draft class?
No,
Oh my goodness, whatever. This is all nonsense.
Sorry.
Nonsense.
I'm sorry,
Mitch was
Rob.
Mitch was never in the presence of Bobby Sakura, so
I still
You know-
like him. Rob, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I still like you too.
Robert.
Hey, Bobby, if you're listening, remember, I'm going to bat for you. So I still remember your great days at Gonzaga because I totally watched those games. Totally.
I watched them. I like him, but we just didn't have the same connection.
I didn't. So there's
We're
that.
not friends on Facebook. Me and Rob aren't friends on Facebook, so
But you and Kelly are. So.
we are actually.
Oh my goodness! Shut up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So, if we were to title this episode, "Hey, Bobby Sacre, we got something to say to you," do you think he'd actually listen to it?
He might say a current Zag has something to say to him. Maybe he will. Mr.
I like it.
Sacre, I'm a big fan.
All right,
oh my goodness.
let's quit dreaming here.
I still have my one sentence recap, and I don't have anything to talk about Kelly Olynyk, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. So my one sentence recap is Suns, while channeling the 1976 Cinderella Suns, almost pull off a little bit of a Cinderella story of their own. Halftime, Suns honored the 76 Suns, and they were all around at center court. Had a little bit of fun talking about that season in general, and talking about the great game against the Celtics that they had in the finals. So it was kind of fitting that we almost pulled a little bit of a story of our own on that night. So
Yeah, that was awesome how that worked out. And I have to say, I finally watched the documentary about the Cinderella Suns that was on Fox Sports Arizona. And it was great. It was a good watch. And it's
It
cool
really
to see
is.
those guys still coming down to Phoenix and celebrating it a little bit and still getting together.
all those guys
Good
getting
stuff.
into the building, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, I got the chance to be at the Steve Nash Ring of Honor induction to start off the year, and I went to a ton of games last year. I had been to a few previous to that, but that was definitely the coolest moment I've ever experienced in that building. That was it's cool when you see all those guys get around in center court and the brothership and
Yeah, it would have been great to have been.
fraternity.
It would have been great to have been at that Celtics game because of that and having a good time. And on Fox Sports Arizona, they had the old 70s logos, which were really cool. So a lot of fun.
Yep, that was cool last night. All right, so for the trivia, I'm going to keep this one real quick. I was the only one to get an answer right. It was Booker for the most points with his 21, so 2 points for me. That sits us at Mitch with 39, David with 36, and I have 31.
Oh, okay.
All right, that'll do it for the trivia and the reviews. So let's move into the previews. The Suns take on the Timberwolves in Minnesota. David, what is your key to the game?
My key to the game is going to be inside presence. We've been out-rebounded, outscored in the paint the last couple of times we played. Just been getting manhandled, even by smaller guys. So we really need to get that presence in the paint early and keep on going with it. If we need to be able to score. We need to be able to defend, mainly. So if we can do that, I think we can stand a shot against the Timberwolves.
Right, and going off what you said, I have the player to watch for, and I'm going to say Karl Anthony Towns. He's having a great rookie season, and I expect him to put up some pretty solid numbers against us. He's averaging just over 18 points and just over 10 rebounds per game, and it's pretty cool to see a rookie average a double-double throughout the year. So, and if we don't have Chandler back by then, Len will definitely have his hands full. So, in the situation where Len were to get in foul trouble, or Towns is in while Len is on the bench, I'm really interested to see what happens. All right, Mitch, you're covering this one. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, you guys covered a lot of really important stuff already. I think the other thing to add is that last time we played the Timberwolves, Zach LaVine had a really good game. So it's tough for us to contain the Timberwolves because we have so many issues with their big guys. And then when you have someone like Zach LaVine playing against us, especially against Devin Booker, who, as Zach Lowe pointed out in his piece about Devin Booker, Booker's defense has not been great this year. So I don't know how we'll match up with LaVine this time, but I think we know this team pretty well by this point. And, I mean, we'll just see what happens. It wasn't pretty last time. I don't really expect it to be this time. I expect another draft win.
All about those draft wins this time of year.
Yeah.
And the Timberwolves in general, just a pretty exciting team to watch with Wiggins and LaVine and Towns. You know, they're pretty jam-packed with young talent, young athletic talent. So
they're going to be really good soon. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I see in 5 or 6 years, I could see the Timberwolves, Jazz, Suns, and Lakers being up at the top, which would be a nice change.
Oh, it would.
I don't know if that's a change or just a go back to like how it has been for, especially when it comes to the 90s and all that. But I'm not going to complain.
No.
Okay, so that does it for the T-Wolves game. And after that one, the Suns stay in the Midwest and head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. And I have the key to the game for this one. And I'm going to go with an obvious one that we've talked about before and say the Suns need to take care of the ball. We've seen too many games with 20 or more turnovers this season. I swear I've said this in an episode before, but man, it gets tough to watch. And the Bucks are a solid young team, and we don't need to give them any help by being sloppy with the ball. All right, David, you have the player to watch for. Who do you got?
This one is really easy, and it is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, Magic Giannis Stockton-Tecumpo. Dude, he's playing point guard for them now. He's the facilitator on offense. He is, since the All-Star break, he's had a ton of triple-doubles. He's doubled his triple-double count, I'm pretty sure, for his entire career. He had, I think, one or something like that, one or two, before in his whole career leading up to this year's All-Star break. And he's been just playing extremely well. There are reports coming out that that's where the Bucks kind of wanted to see him play mostly when they first drafted him, but his size and his raw ability, they didn't know what to do with him. And that's why so many teams wanted to draft and stash him in Europe, because they don't know. And he's been talked about for so long because of his upside in general and his potential. He's been playing really well. So I think he's easily the player to watch as he facilitates that offense. And, you know, Chris Middleton and Jabari Parker have been balling out as well and playing extremely well in this stretch of time. So definitely look at those guys too.
Yeah, and so I'm covering this game, and I like what you said about, and I don't think I can match your pronunciation, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, he is playing in this system that the Bucks are running in the definition of a positionless league, and it's really interesting because I think this is going to start happening more with other teams. But he's averaging 16.6 per game this season, and Chris Middleton is averaging 18.1, leading the team. So I think it's pretty interesting that Chris Middleton is averaging even more. We've got a couple former Suns too. We've got Miles Plumlee, Plum Dog Millionaire, and Tyler Ennis too. So that was the part of the Brandon Knight trade last year. So I don't know if that will really mean anything to anyone, including Brandon Knight. I don't really know. We'll see. Maybe it'll spark him to have a good game. But I think that will be something interesting to watch. But yeah, I think the Bucks are another team that so far they're 30-44 as of Sunday the 27th. But I think they're another team, kind of like we're talking, who's gonna rise to the top, like us, the Lakers, the Timberwolves. The Bucks they're a good young team.
What's gonna happen when Giannis gets stronger?
Oh my gosh!
It's if he can work on. I think the next thing he needs to work on is playing in the post a little bit more. If he can improve his footwork a little bit more, he can take mismatches into the post, and then I think from there, then working on his jump shot. But I mean, if he bulks up, I don't even know.
Watch out.
That's pretty much it. I mean,
you already have to watch out for him without him being bulked up. You know,
he's doing. They're calling it. I mean, it's a Euro step, and I know all the guys are using the Greek Euro. He's doing those from the 3-point line, and dude's just long and ridiculous. And I try and watch the Bucks as much as I can because just watching him is a ton of fun. Watching him, Jabari, and Chris Middleton right now is just a ton of fun.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's really good to see Jabari succeeding too after his injury.
Yeah, definitely. I know.
Absolutely.
Everyone was freaking out at the beginning of the season, but dudes didn't even play a full rookie year. When you looked at his numbers from basically a full 82 games, they're not bad at all, and dude can play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I want to say that knee injury happened here in Phoenix, which was tough. I remember watching the game and thinking, man, that's tough breaks for a rookie like that. But, you know, the first time I really saw him this season was in that Rising Stars game. Mm-hmm. And he definitely has that explosive factor back. He threw down some pretty sick dunks in that game, and he doesn't look like he really missed a step. So I'm happy to see that.
You know, real quick, I don't remember him being as athletic as he is. He seems way more athletic than I remember. I know there are some other people saying that too, but he is really, really athletic.
Now that you say it, I never really thought of him as a game-changing athlete. I never really thought of him as that, but yeah, now that you say it, he looks pretty impressive right now. Okay, so that will do it for the Bucks. And then I think a lot of us Suns fans have been eyeing this game on the calendar for a little while here. On April 1st, we take on Markieff Morris. Ooh. And the Washington Wizards at home here in Phoenix. Mitch, you have the key to the game. What do you got?
It's very easy to talk about just Markieff in this situation, but I think that pace is a big one, and John Wall is a huge factor in that. He likes to get up and down the court a lot. Teammates with Eric Bledsoe at Kentucky, and there was talk, I remember at the beginning of this season, saying like, who can get to the basket faster, Eric Bledsoe or John Wall? And I think John Wall actually took it when they ran the numbers, but he is a very explosive guy, and he likes to run that offense quickly. So I think if we can control their pace, then we could have a chance.
I like it. I like that you didn't take the low-hanging fruit with Markieff. So I have the player to watch for, and I'm going to talk about Markieff.
There we go.
So Markieff hasn't been a major factor for the Wizards yet this season, but you know he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to really want to light us up, I assume. But he is day-to-day right now. So we don't know. I think they play, as we're recording here, I think they play today. He's still listed day-to-day for that. He did participate in the shoot-around. So it looks like he could be ready for this game. Not that I'm checking or anything. I'm not interested in that rivalry with me and Markeith. But anyways, I hope we have all of our guys back so we can put some good size on him, get those big bodies on him, and maybe shut him down and make him look bad. And David, you get the pleasure of covering this game. What do you have?
So our previous game against the Wizards was December 4th, I believe was the day. Yeah, December 4th. Bradley Beal was the big contributor of a comeback that helped the Wizards beat us 109-106. We outscored them in the first quarter. They matched us in the second, and then third and fourth they outscored us both to take a 3-point win. We still had Bledsoe. It was pre-Bledsoe injury. It was pre-Warren injury. Of course, we still had Markeith. Our team has changed a lot, and so has theirs in that time. Of course, they now have Markeith, and they're dealing with some injury issues, and they're still under where they thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. But they are a decent team. They are good. John Wall is a really good point guard. Look at him if you're going to watch anyone. I mean, of course, you can boo Markeith all you want. I've said enough. I've said enough about Markeith this season in general. But John Wall, I think, is definitely a guy that if you like basketball and you like point guard play, he is that guy. He's explosive. He is fast. He's athletic. His jump shot is still continuing to improve. And he's a great passer. So, I think that we can... I would love to be able to beat them, even though we shouldn't be. We should try to... we're still technically tanking, but we got their pick. I'd be okay with beating them and maybe helping solidify that second lottery pick in my books. And it would also feel really, really good to beat up on Markeith. There. I got my Markeith slot in anyways.
You got your Mar beef out of the way.
Oh!
I'll show myself out.
Yeah. Drop your mic.
Actually, for real, drop your mic and just get out of the room now. So.
I did. I did. You probably can't hear it.
Okay, so we are now only doing one trivia per week, and we just pick a random game from the week, and we decided to do it for this Wizards game here. So,
yeah, it was so random.
So random. Why do we care about this game? But anyways, let's start with points. For two points, who's going to have the most points on the Suns? David, who do you got?
I'm going to go ahead and say Booker. I think that's just the way to go. John Wall is a pretty strong defender, so they'll probably give Brandon Knight trouble. Or maybe he does switch on to Booker and then I eat my hat. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Booker. I feel good about picking Booker just every night.
Yep, same here. I'm picking Booker.
As long, of course, as he has a favorable matchup. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Beal and or Wall giving both of our guards a lot of trouble. And Mirza is my guy. I think he can, he can fill it up if those three-pointers are falling. So I'm going Mirza. And then let's do rebounds. I'll take Len. Mitch, what do you got?
I'll take Len, too.
I think I am going to go with Arizona. I was thinking of going lure, but I'm not going to. I don't like being bold anymore. I don't like being bold anymore. It's not fun. Safe. I mean, it's fun, but it sucks. So.
All right, then assists. Mitch, go for it.
I will say Knight.
And David.
I'm going to go Booker.
All right, I'm going Booker too with that one. And bonus question. You guys excited?
Yes.
I thought you would be. Okay. How many minutes of televised booing will Markieff Morris receive at the Talking Stick Arena? Mitch, what do you got?
Okay. I know that this will be wrong, but I'm just hoping. 30 minutes.
30 minutes, so almost 3/4 of just booing.
Just non-stop.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. As long as Markieff knows they're for him.
Yeah.
All right, David, do you have a more realistic?
So I think that there will be some boos
Say 45.
that we'll be getting when he is introduced. And I think that for the first quarter, whenever he touches the ball, I think there will be some boos. Is what I'm going to go with. I don't normally, that kind of stuff doesn't travel past the first quarter, in my opinion. So I'm going to say probably a solid 6 minutes altogether.
All right, 6 minutes. That's a lot of booing. Still. All right, and I will go conservatively. And I will go with 4 minutes of booing.
Ooh.
I kind of thought you were going to go 5 minutes and 59 seconds, so that way.
Just to guarantee.
Just to guarantee it, yeah.
No, I really hope. I don't want to sound like I'm bitter, but you know, if I'm coming.
But you are bitter. I'm bitter.
That's fine.
I'm definitely bitter.
I hope it erupts with booze in there, like
it will.
Like more than the Kobe chants were happening, which was pathetic. Hearing all those Kobe chants in our arena, but oh man, I hope I hope the announcer has to get over the system and like quiet the crowd. I hope that happens.
I don't want him to make a shot. I want him to brick every single shot, and it's not going to happen. But it would be awesome.
Yeah. We all want that, but I kind of think he's going to go for like 40 or something.
Oh, that would be gross.
It would be horrible, but I could see him just being like, here's what you're missing.
See, I want him to try and do that and still brick everything.
That's okay. That's a possibility.
Or Mirza hit a 3 for every 2 Markieff.
Oh my goodness, that would be great.
Like real stretch 4.
Or maybe maybe we can get an Alex poster on Markieff. That would be great.
Yeah. Len throws down some feisty dunks, I hope. Yeah, Markieff won't even be down there. He doesn't.
No.
Like
I know,
down.
but I can dream, damn
it. Okay. I guess we'll call an end to the Markieff Morris smack talk, and we'll go to the Jazz game, and this one will be Sunday, so that will be right before we record. So anyways, David, what is your key to the game against the Jazz?
So for the last Jazz game, I said the key was getting someone to score over 20 points. Still didn't happen. So that's going to be my key. I think Brandon Knight, specifically, he was the leading scorer the 2 times that he's played the Jazz. I think if he can score over 20, that'll be a victory. Maybe not a real victory, but at least a moral one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Jazz defense is solid.
They're really good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Mitch, player of the game, who you looking out for?
I'm going to go obvious here. I'm going to say Gordon Hayward. He leads the team in scoring, 19.7 per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game. He has had some injury trouble this season, but he looks to be good now. And, yeah, he's a pretty good player. So that's who I'll be watching.
For sure. And we have been really bad against the Jazz this season. And if we don't show up to play, it's going to be a season series sweep. The Jazz will sweep us. So, and the Jazz are in the battle for the playoff seeding with the Rockets, Trailblazers, and Mavericks right now. They're all fighting for the 7 and 8 seed. So, every game is important to the Jazz. So they will be bringing it all. And if they're at full strength, I don't think we have much of a chance against them. And, you know, with that young core of Hayward, Favors, Gobert, and Hood, I just think they're missing a point guard, and they could be something really special.
Well, sorry, real quick. I was just thinking earlier, Dante Exum he was looking like he could be a pretty good player, but he was hurt this season. So it's like, what would their team look like this year with him?
Right, that's a good call. I was thinking about Trey Burke, and he was supposed to be a big deal, and he's not quite what they were expecting. But yeah, I forgot about Exum. That's a good call. They'd be pretty dangerous with him.
Yeah.
And then one more thing on the Jazz is I really hope they get that 7 seed so they don't have to face the Warriors right away. Not that the Spurs are going to be an easy test, but I'd like to see the Jazz make a little noise in the playoffs, maybe. Just give them a good series.
Maybe they can beat the Spurs. No, they can't. But it would be great.
Oh, my gosh. That would be amazing. It won't happen.
It won't happen, but it would be awesome.
We can dream.
I just hope that 3 of the teams at the end of the Western Conference are the Warriors, the Spurs, and the Thunder. I just hope that the finals involves 2 of those 3 teams. I'm just pulling for that. That'll be great basketball.
It will be.
All right, and that will do it for our previews for next week's games. And we are going to move into some off-season talk. And let's talk about the draft a little bit. So the Suns, looks like we're going to have 3 first-round picks. We have ours. We have the Wizards, which is sitting at 12 right now. And then one from the Cavs, which I believe is sitting at 26 or 27 right now. So towards the end there, Cavs are having a good season. Record-wise, at least. So, who do you guys think will be taking the 3rd pick in the draft? It's between us and the Nets right now. They're sitting at 21 and 51, and we are 20 and 53. So we have we're a couple games behind them, and I know they just won last night while we lost, so that helped us out a little bit. Do you guys see us landing at 3 or 4?
You know, it almost, I don't know. Having a higher pick is nice, but with what we've been seeing from Bender lately, who everyone is thinking will go 3, I don't know how great of a fit he would be for us, so it might make it easier for the Nets to get the 3rd pick and take him, and then we could have some more options at 4, but I don't really know.
The Nets pick goes to the Celtics, correct?
Oh, right.
Okay,
Well,
so we're just battling the Nets.
Yeah,
I should have said that a little clearer. That's my
whoever
fault too.
Whoever has that 3rd pick, right? Sorry, but it might be more helpful for us to have the 4th pick instead of the 3rd. I mean, of course, we want 1 or 2 for sure to get Simmons or Ingram, but it's just not looking like that's going to be that much of a possibility.
1 or 2, so that way we can pick up Buddy Hield, right?
Well, I mean,
I'm on the Buddy hype train. I love him.
He's great. He is really great. But
Do you think he's a realistic option if we were to get that 3 or 4? Do you think he's crawling up the draft that much, or is he sitting around 5? What do you think?
I think last one I saw him, he was around 5 or 6, I think. Last time I saw him, I'm not.
I say take him at 4.
I would take him.
If we get
I would take
4
him
or
in a heartbeat.
5, take
I
him.
just think that at this point he's gotten to. If we're at the 4, I think he might be best. I think he might be best player available at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
You're looking at Ingram, Simmons, and Bender probably off the board. I'm not a big Bender fan. That makes me really nervous. I don't want to take him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Buddy's might be best player available. I know some people want Chris Dunn. I know that, but I think I'd take Buddy over him.
Yeah, I think I like Buddy more than Dunn too. Nothing against Dunn. Dunn's a great player, but Buddy is having a really great tournament.
Buddy is Bay right now for me, so I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to say it. I follow it. I really like Buddy Hield, so I want to take him.
And Buddy's still dancing, so he can put up another big game and
could
maybe shoot up a little more.
He just
more
continues to put up. He's been putting up really good numbers in the tournament.
Yes, he has.
Okay, so we've talked about the number 3 or number 4 here. Well, let's move into the pick we're getting from the Wizards. It's sitting at 12 right now if the season were to end today. But things are pretty tight between Washington, Dallas, Chicago, Utah, Houston, and Portland right now. And I know some of those will be playoff teams, and there will probably be some shifting, but that's the crew that are sitting in that, 11 to 16 range or something like that. So I really think we could maybe keep that around the 12 or 13. Well, not we, the Wizards. I think not much could change, really, and it'd be great to get that number 12 pick. Do you guys see that happening, and who are some guys in that late lottery range that you like?
Well, I've been very vocal about this, but Domantas Sabonis is... I think he would be great to take in that range. He had a really good tournament against Syracuse in a heartbreaking game that... this is not the time to talk about it, but
it's okay,
he had 19 points and 17 rebounds, and he's been consistently putting up double doubles and approaching 20 and 20. He never got there. I was really hoping he would, but approaching 20 and 20 in a lot of big games. And there were a couple knocks against him. People were saying, I don't know how well he can play against a quality big man. Well, he completely shut down Jakob Poeltl from Utah, who people thought could go around the 5 pick, and he had a great offensive game against Poeltl. So, and then against Syracuse big men, they were quite a bit smaller than him height wise, but they were pretty strong, and he still played well. And his footwork, Sabonis's footwork, is incredible. He has developed a really nice mid-range shot. His post work is great. He's working on a 3-point shot. He hasn't taken a ton of threes, but he can get there. I really like Sabonis, and I think he would fit in Phoenix.
How about you, David?
So, if we end up at, say, 11, right? Do you think Scal drops that far?
I could see that.
I mean, I don't think he will, but I could definitely see a scenario where Scal ends up dropping to that right around there. And I think if he drops there, you got to pick him.
On that note, I think it was Draft Express I checked out, and I noticed that Poeltl, I think is how you say that, from Utah, and then Ellenson from Marquette, and Scal, I'm not even going to try the last name. But those are three guys over 6'10". Two of them are 7 feet or taller. And they've all been slipping down towards that late top 10 pick. And if any of those three guys were to happen to be available for that pick, I would jump.
See, that's exactly what I was thinking too. I know Pirtle had a tough time against Sabonis. I think that elevation really got to him in Denver. And I mean, if he drops significantly because of his tournament play, or because some people might think his conditioning is a little bad, I mean, playing in Phoenix, not going to have an elevation problem.
Oh, and yeah, Pirtle is a great player. I don't want to take anything away from him. He is a really good player, for sure.
And, I mean, if any of those guys, I could see any of those guys really falling a bit. And, I mean, if we're at 11 and any one of those guys is able to be picked, I would be definitely okay with that.
Yeah.
There were a couple other guys that, I mean, I think the last one at Draft Express had us at 13 picking Deontay Davis, Michigan State. That's another power forward center. I didn't really watch Michigan State, so I don't have a whole lot to say on that. I would need to look at that a little bit more. I know that just kind of going backwards a little bit. Jaylen Brown is that 4 spot maybe. Just throwing that out there. I know he was playing pretty well. He's a freshman small forward. I mean, he'll have some room to go. Maybe if we're at a 4 or 5, maybe picking him. Just throwing that out there. But going back, I think that there are a lot of good power forwards in that late lottery pick that we should definitely go after. Their power forward center is kind of in between the two, but I mean, Scal, Henry Ellenson, was it a Pirtle drops that far? I don't think he will, but if he does, Deontay Davis, I mean, obviously Sabonis in that late lottery, he might be a little lower than late lottery, but I mean, picking up if you just think he's the best. If we think that he's the best, I'd be fine picking up Sabonis.
The problem is he hasn't declared if he's going to the NBA yet. I mean, he has plenty of time, but people aren't quite sure what he's going to do, and I have no idea. I mean, if I were him, I would go, but I don't know what he'll do. So that's kind of a bit of an issue with him. But the other thing to remember, I think, is this 10 to 15, 11 to 16 range is where we have gotten some great players before. The Suns know how to draft in this position really well. The scouting is really good. And you have to remember that last year, Justice Winslow fell pretty low, a lot lower than people thought. And we got Devin Booker in this range, you know? So I think whoever we get will be a good choice. I really trust the Suns when it comes to this range in the draft.
Totally. That's what I was just going to say, too. With Booker and then Warren the year before, kind of in that range. Those are two solid picks, and we did get robbed of seeing Warren this year, but I think he's going to have a nice career, too.
Agreed.
And then real quickly, our last pick of the first round, we'll get from the Cavs in that 26, 27, 28 region.
Probably hitting 28, I think. They're the third best record in the league right now, so 28 more than likely.
Okay. Anyone interest you in that range that you want to talk about?
I think one that I don't think he's late first rounder, but I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on if we are afraid that he might not be there, is Bryce Johnson, senior for North Carolina. Power forward, another power forward. His game's not going to change too much. He's going to be 22, I think, by the time that starts around. His game's not going to change too much, but I mean, North Carolina has been playing pretty well in the tournament, and I think he contributes a lot to that. And I wouldn't mind, maybe he's just a backup power forward, maybe he's something, but I wouldn't mind taking him even if it might be a little early with that late first round pick, like 5-ish picks. But I would like picking him up. There were a couple other that I wanted to bounce off you guys, but they're later picks. But I don't remember. I'd have to look them up real quick. But Mitch, why don't you go ahead?
The guy that I was kind of thinking about, and I don't know if he'll be available at this point, is Denzel Valentine. And the only reason I think he could slip is since Michigan State they lost early in the tournament, and so people weren't able to see him play as much in there, and then he was injured this season too, so he didn't get that full season. So I think he might slip, and I liked what I saw from him this season, but I don't know. I think it's kind of a risk, but I still don't. He's a really good player. I don't know if he'll be available at that spot, but I wouldn't mind taking him if he is.
Valentine is put at the 17th pick on Draft Express on their last one.
Right.
So I mean, he's pretty high.
I think it's reasonable, but I could see him falling just because of
definitely. They're always
what I said.
Fallers. There was a couple guys that I wanted to just bounce off you guys if they're in the second round, if maybe we trade or if we grab a couple second rounders or trade a couple guys for a second rounder. What do you guys think of Yogi Ferrell?
I think he's good.
I do too. They have him late second round, but I think Yogi's. First off, love his name. Second off,
yes.
I really like him. I wouldn't mind drafting him anywhere in the second round. After just watching that Syracuse game, I know it's a little hurtful, but what do you think about Tyler Roberson?
Charlie can take this one. I have no comment at this point.
I really don't have much to say about it. I did not watch much Syracuse basketball this year, to tell you the truth.
I mean,
how about you, Tom?
He's a junior, and I don't know if he's declaring or not, but he's a small forward, power forward. He looks like I'm not sure that much, but I think he might be a flyer in the second round, maybe if he declares, or maybe not. And who was the last one? Have you guys watched any Notre Dame at all this year?
Not a lot.
There's their Demetrius Jackson.
Oh yeah,
he's a point guard. We need more guards, obviously, but he's kind of early in the draft, late lottery, and I mean he might be something to look at when it comes to point guard play. I watched the Notre Dame Wisconsin game, so I like him. I also like Bronson Koenig. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't even know if he's declaring or not. I think he's a junior, but second round, who knows?
Yeah.
He can shoot pretty well. It'd be fun. I like guards. Let's just get an all guard lineup and then have an all power forward lineup and just have a lot of fun.
No, because I want to talk about a big man that might go at the end of the first round, and I think he'd be a good fit for the Suns. It is Steven Zimmerman out of UNLV.
Oh, interesting.
He's got nice size, 7-footer. He's just 19 years old. He's a really fluid athlete. Mm-hmm. You don't see that out of a lot of 7-footers, and he looks coordinated compared to a bunch of them. But when I saw some tape on this guy at the beginning of the year, towards the beginning of his season, I thought, can you please stay in college for 1 or 2 more years and then come out? And I'm not positive if he is coming out or not, but he's projected to be at the end of the first. So with that Cavs pick, I'd really like to see us pick him up, and then maybe once Chandler's contract is up here, he'd be ready to come in. But we'll see what happens.
That's interesting. That is interesting. I think one more name to remember, and I don't know what the Suns will be planning on doing and if this guy could even fit, whatever. Just remember the name Eric McClellan. He has some great NBA potential, and he's shown it in the West Coast Conference tournament and NCAA tournament. He is a great guy. He's a great athlete. His jump shot has improved so much. He can get to the rim. He takes care of the ball for the most part. So much room to grow, and he's a quick learner, and I really like him, and I think he's someone who should definitely get a shot with a team. I mean, I'd love to have him on the Suns, but I don't know. I don't know what we're
defensive
doing.
2-3 basically, or 3. And
yeah, he can play 1 through 3 basically. He's a great defender. Yeah, really.
I enjoyed watching him this season. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I would be super happy, but
you just want an all Gonzaga lineup. That's complete. We have to throw your opinion out of the window.
Amazing, but I'm sorry. I just said I don't know if he'll be on the Suns, but I told him in an elevator, "You have great NBA potential."
Well, hopefully that smooth talk had worked, and when he lands on the Suns, we have an inside source.
Yeah, really.
All right, so hey, we're running pretty long. Let's start to wrap things up here. We normally do what game we're looking forward to most. I'm going to assume everyone's going to say the Wizards.
Yep.
With
Nope.
our boy
Bucks.
Markieff. Oh yeah,
Bucks,
you know the Bucks. Yeah. The Bucks. Yeah, you got to think about if you want to watch a great game and some great players, watch the Bucks. If you want to boo Markieff, watch the.
If you want to watch Magic Giannisson, watch the Bucks.
There you go. All right, non-sports related plug time. Anyone have anything of importance that they want to say? David's shaking his head.
I mean, I have what I've been saying for the past few weeks. I just finished my last trip with Gonzaga. We went to Chicago for the Sweet 16, and it was a ton of fun. And I've had so much fun traveling with that band, and I'm really going to miss it. But it's been a great experience. So I'm back in one place for a little bit. That's kind of nice. I can get used to one time zone. But yeah, Chicago was awesome.
Yeah, let's just end it with that nice sentimental message from Mitch, because I was going to talk about Game of Thrones.
Oh,
we're just going to end. No, I'm ending it with you, man.
Okay.
All right, so that'll do it. Check us out on social media. Find us on Facebook under the name Phoenix Suns Multiple Sources. Follow us on Twitter under the name @SunnyInPHXPod. Email us with questions, thoughts, or suggestions at sunnyinphxpod@gmail.com. Check out our website, multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns, and the entire Multiple Sources blog and podcast network. Thanks for listening. This long, tough season is finally nearing its end, and we are looking forward to see what the Suns can do this next offseason. Check back next week while we go over the games and talk more about the draft and the offseason. See you next week. Go Suns.